Hey there, welcome back. I'm Ron Mullet. This pool stick and ball stand is an easy build. I'll show you how to lay out a perfect grid of 1-inch holes to keep the balls tight and secure on that bottom shelf. There are some easy methods to lay out and add maple inlay banding that makes this stand pop. So let's get started with some air-dried walnut that I've had for over 35 years. Of course it's not flat, and I don't have a jointer. So I've taken a piece of melamine, put a piece of wood on the end, and then put the board on that melamine. Now it's important that this board pushes against that little block on the melamine sled because that's what pushes the sled through the planer. I'll level it up with some playing cards wherever it needs, and then it's off to the planer. This will plane one side perfectly flat. Then I'll flip it over, run it through the planer again so I end up with two faces that are flat and parallel. This is going to be the top. It'll be cut in two pieces, glued together. Same with the bottom. The top I'm making about 3/16 of an inch thicker than the bottom shelf. So time to cut these and then get a straight edge along each side. Time to glue up the panels. I like to put blue tape on my clamps where the glue squeeze out is going to be, just to protect them a little bit. I always like to wipe it off just right at the beginning. Some people wait till it kind of dries up a little bit and then use a scraper. I like to get as much as I can right at the beginning with a wet cloth, not a dry cloth, because this will get down in the grain of the wood and wipe it out of the grain of the wood also. The top and the bottom shelf, I've got them cut to size. I've sanded them down to 150 grit. And now I need to figure out how I want to attach the legs to this top. This is going to be just basically a butt joint that goes right on there. I'm going to set it back 3/16 of an inch all the way around. And I've got a couple options. I could put a couple dowels in there. I could even use pocket hole screws in the back. But to me, a mortise and tenon joint is one of the strongest joints there is. I'm going to cut a mortise using my benchtop mortising machine, using a 1/2-inch bit in it, and then I'll cut a tenon on here. The next step was to take my leg and mark out where I want the mortise to be. So I put it on there and then put a couple marks on this side and then a couple marks on this side, and then I transferred those marks over to table saw. I've set up a stop block and the blade height based on those marks. Okay, let's see how this fits right off the saw. Oh yeah. Well, yeah, I'm happy with that. That's a good tight fit right straight off the saw. I don't have to do any trimming or anything. The bottom shelf and the legs are going to be attached with half-lap joinery. Got this slick little tool. It's from Micro Jig. The way this works is you set it against the board. It's got magnets, so it hangs good there. And you loosen this up, and then it drops down to the thickness of the board. And then you tighten these two nuts down in the back, and that is exactly half of the board. Then you take this and set up the braid height. I'm going to cut the legs. First, I've set up a stop where I'm going to start my cut, and then I've just got a pencil line where I'm going to stop. All right, these half laps turned out really well. Half lap joinery is a good strong joint to make if you only have a table saw. So I like these, I use them quite often. Now I need to move on. Okay, on the top where I'm going to drill the holes for the pool cues to go through, I'm going to drill 1.5-inch holes with a Forstner bit. I've got them marked on both ends of the board, and then on the back side I've covered them with tape to stop any blowout coming across the back. One thing that's not talked about much on YouTube is that these large, this is an 1.5-inch Forstner bit. These large bits need to be slowed way down, because if you don't, they'll just burn like crazy. My machine will, the slowest it will go is 460 RPM, and that's what I have this set at. So those holes turned out nice. The tape on the back kept them from blowing out. This is a little bit larger than the bottom. Get it centered like that. And then I'll take my bit and put it in there. Just whack it once, and that'll give me a point to set the bit in. Okay, this turned out pretty well. I drilled these holes 1/2 inch deep, and I'll line the bottom of these with either leather or velvet or something like that. Next, I'm going to lay out where the balls are going to go. I'm going to lay them out in the grid that they would be if they were in the rack. The first thing I need to do is find the center of this bottom shelf. There's the center right there. And then I'll take a square and draw a line this way and a line this way. Everything is going to be measured from this top ball right here. I'm going to start at the very top. And these numbers here is the inches from the top down to the lines that go across this way. These numbers here are starting from the center line and working out. Starting at the center line here, the ball is going to be at 2 1/4 inches. At the center line here, it's going to be 1 1/8 and 3 3/8 inches, and so on like that. I'm going to use a 1-inch Forstner bit, and I'm going to drill it probably about 1/4 inch. My suggestion before you start drilling these holes is to do it on a sample piece. This is a piece of plywood I did just to work out that, make sure the balls are going to be in the perfect place. Okay, that turned out pretty well. Another way to check, you can do this before or after, is to measure the distance between the center of each hole, and it should be exactly 2 1/4 no matter which direction you measure. The inlay on the top shelf, I'm going to use maple, and I'm going to use a 1/4 inch router bit to cut the groove in the top. So what I've got is this jig from Rockler. It's good and heavy. It has a thing in here that fits into the track, and on the end it has a roller right here. So how this works is you put it in the track, and then you move it over until it gets over there to just touch the tooth on the blade. Then you lock it down. This is marked in 1/8 inch increments, so I'm going to loosen this up and slide it just a little over 1/4 inch, because I want it to be a little wider than the router bit. So I'm going to move it just a smidge like that. Take my piece of wood, slide it over to the roller, tighten the fence down, and then run it through the saw. Okay, I want it to be a little over 1/4 inch. There you go, it's a little over 1/4 inch, and now I can plane that down to fit down in the groove. What I'll do is I'll use that same jig to set it up to cut it 1/8 of an inch this way, and that's how deep the groove will be. There we go. Works for me. 1/8 of an inch right there. So to route the grooves for the inlay, I'll take 2 strips of inlay, set my router on there. I've got a 1/4 inch bit in there, and then I adjust the router bit up just a little bit above this surface, and that will give me the proper depth to cut for these inlays. Okay, all the grooves are cut for the inlay. Now I need to trim my 1/4 inch wide inlay down a little bit to get it to fit in there just right. So I've got my trusty jig here. I've got the 1/4 inch insert. I'll just set this plane rides on these 2 rails on each side. So I can just plane this until it gets down to 1/4 of an inch. And there it goes. Perfect fit. I'll do that to all the rest of them, and then I'll be good to go. Okay, I'm cutting the inlay to length, and I'm going to miter the corners on the inlay. And I've got a real fine tooth Japanese pole saw that I use when I do kamiko. And that way I can end up with nice mitered corners all the way around on this thing. Now I'm ready to cut for the inlay banding on the front legs. I want it to be 3/16 of an inch wide, and the problem is I don't have a 3/16 of an inch bit. All I've got is an 1/8 inch bit right here, but what I'll do is I've got my fence set on there. I'll cut that line, then I've got 2 pieces of maple here that I cut, and they total a 1/16 of an inch. So I'll cut the first cut, put those in there, and then I can run it along that, and I'll end up with a 3/16 of an inch wide groove. I've taken a pick and marked where I'll drill the 3/8 inch holes for the ebony plugs. Got the holes drilled for the plugs, drilled out the plugs on this block of ebony. Now I just need to pop them out. Okay, it's time to put these inlays in. Makes it a little bit easier if I can hold these with a pair of pliers. I'm leaving these ends flat so that it looks like the end of a cue stick rather than trying to round it to fit that. So it looks like a cue stick hitting an 8 ball. On the bottom shelf, the balls will set here. But when there's no ball there, I don't want just this wood to be showing. Same way with where the sticks go down in here. I thought about putting some velvet, like the same thing as in, or felt, whatever it is, on the pool table. But no, this thing deserves a little bit better. So I'm going to put leather down in there. And in order to cut circles, I ordered online from Amazon this leather punch kit, and it has all these different sizes. I've already cut a couple to make sure it works. Take a piece of wood, put on top, a couple wax, and it cuts out a nice little circle, and it fits right in there perfectly. All right, a lot of hand sanding. Everything is ready for finish. What I'm using is a water-based polyurethane, and I'm using a foam brush. I like to use foam brushes with this water base. Every place I read said you should use a synthetic bristle brush, but I've tried that, but for me it just works better with this. That you call tipping off. You just run this brush back and forth just to smooth it up. So I've got 3 coats of finish on everything. I've taken all the masking tape off, and now time to glue in the little leather dots. Okay, I've finished with 3 coats of finish on everything. I've rubbed it all down with a brown paper bag. One of my favorite things to do. It just gives it such a nice, smooth feel to it. I've got the leather dots in, and now it's time to do some glue up. If you liked this video, I would really appreciate it if you'd hit that subscribe and like button. It'd mean a lot to me. And while you're at it, check out one of my other woodworking videos. I think you'll be able to find one that you like. And I'll see you on my next one.